Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. We are now hours away from the announcement of the Booker Prize 2020 this year, and I thought I would jump on here to have a bit of a book chat about the 6 shortlist books which are stacked up right here behind me, and just go through my general thoughts over the books, what my favourites were, and also who I think could be the potential winner. Well, there's a couple that I think that could be the potential winners, but yeah, hopefully we don't have the same situation as we did last year where we had a joint winner that took us all by surprise. But yeah, so I thought with it being only hours away, it'd be really fun just to chat to you guys about the books overall. And so it has been quite a journey, I must say, for myself, going through all 6 of the shortlist. This is the first time that I've ever done this, where I've read every single shortlist book for the Booker Prize. I have in the past read more so a lot of the long list and the short list, but not them in their entirety. So this has been a really fun journey, and throughout this process I have been able to communicate and chat to many booktubers who have been on the same journey as I have, who have been going through the shortlisted books and giving their reviews and their updates on their thoughts, and just seeing what the reading community in general has to say about these books. So they are quite a pile, and I am super excited to see who the winner would be. And so please let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are, and if you agree with my on my overall thoughts, and or who I think the winner could be, or who you think the winner could be. It could go anyway. I thought I would start with what my least favorite of the books were, if you've watched all of my YouTube clips so far, you would definitely know, I have more of an in-depth and insightful review on each of these, but overall, just to give a quick rundown, my least favorite book of the shortlist would probably be, I would say these two, which I know for a lot of people is a huge shock to see this one as one of the least favorite that I had. But I would say this is probably the least favorite, and this probably comes up afterwards. But yeah, I found these books both within a 5 out of 10, if not less so, I guess, on reflection, now having read them all and having more time to digest my thoughts on these. But yeah, as a debut novel for Diane Cook, this was a really interesting book, and had so much potential for me. As I mentioned in my review, I felt like the book could have gone to so much more detail on some really topical discussions and issues that we're facing today, but it really didn't. I've actually just gotten up to make sure that the windows were closed. But yeah, so my overall thought on this was my least favorite of the 6, and that I just felt that there were too many things discussed that didn't have enough depth to them, and so in that case, it was more of an entertaining read, one that I probably wouldn't pick up if it wasn't shortlisted. This isn't the sort of book that I would normally read. Dystopian novels are not of real interest to me, and so I had high expectations because I thought this had something different to offer. But then when reading it, you realize that it really is just an entertaining book, and very much an adventure story on human survival in a dystopian world that is futuristic in nature. And yeah, that was pretty much it for me. So probably my least favorite. Do I think this will win the Booker Prize? I don't think so. I would be very surprised if it did, considering the other contenders in the list, but I don't believe that it would win. And then Burnt Sugar. Look, I thought Abney's writing was fantastic. I absolutely, am on board with all of her fans around the conversations and the relationship between mother and daughter. In this book, I did think that was fantastic. I also I think for a debut novel, this is just absolutely impressive. My only, flaw for me was that I could not connect to the characters, and I find that really difficult as a reader if you can't connect to the characters the and they are the main character, and you are with them from the start to the end of the book, and it can just be quite a chore to keep yourself engaged. But I just found Antara to be, very negative, and just a very difficult character to be engaged with. Yeah, it was. She had so much baggage, and rather than and I just found that baggage was, what shaped every thought, every judgment that she had about anyone and everything, which, yeah, just made it very difficult to follow. But that being said, I would say from the writing style and I guess the general following of everyone who is loving this book, this is definitely a contender for the winner. I would not be surprised if this won the Booker Prize this year. I wouldn't be shocked at all, because I can see why. It just wasn't a favorite of mine, but yeah, this could definitely be a strong contender, and if she did win, that would be amazing for Abney, and yeah, it would be great for her. And I know there'd be a lot of people and fans who would be happy that that won. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Burnt Sugar. And then as we move up, so I have not 100% finished This Mournable Body, but I am about 3/4 the way through, and I will put a full review on there. This is definitely a different writing style, and I have been enjoying that. And I've also really been enjoying the me being thrown into the character's world. And yeah, I think having, or now being the third novel of the trilogy, it would not surprise me if perhaps the judges felt that this could be a contender for the winner of the Booker 2020 prize. I think Titsy's got quite a history of her own. She is quite the, an activist, and she has definitely an interesting history. And with, a book like this that's finishing the trilogy, it could very well be, a big proponent of her being the winner, and why she could potentially be chosen by the judges as the Booker 2020 winner. Yeah, it may happen. I have not read her first two novels, so Nervous Conditions, the Book of Not. So yes, I'm really keen to read those first two novels now that I have almost finished this, and I am really enjoying this book. I think she is a fantastic writer, and I absolutely love the plot, and I'm fully engaged with this storyline. So yeah, really keen to read the first and second books, but haven't finished this. And yeah, this sits in the middle for me so far. I would say I'd give this a 6 or 7 out of 10. So yeah, not going too badly. And then these two were my next almost top favorites, with I guess the Sugar being next. And so where are we up to? So this would be number 4 for me. Or number, yeah. So where are we? I'm losing myself. We've got The New Wilderness, then Burnt Sugar, then This Mournable Body, and then Sugar Bane. And Sugar Bane is a great novel, and it is definitely, as I mentioned in my review, which I put up just yesterday on YouTube, is a sensational account of alcoholism, and someone who is, absolutely, addicted to alcohol, and he's dragging her family through her addiction to the point of no return. And, Shuggy Bane and his siblings have gone through an immense, childhood of trauma. And in that, this book is not just about Shuggy Bane, but also Agnes, his mother, who is dependent on alcohol. So I thought that overall this book was highly emotive and very deep, and I thought Douglas Stewart did a fantastic job. This is a book that, or a story that I guess we have read before. This isn't the first of its kind, but it's probably the most intense from a depiction of the effects of alcohol addiction and what it can have on a family. And but as I mentioned in my review yesterday, the book started with the ending, and for that to happen in books, for me, I find it really difficult to continue reading along when I know how the book is going to end. So the plot itself and the story needs to be super engaging for me to keep reading, and I just found it quite tiresome at times. And there were points where I was just like, oh, do I really need to continue with this? I know how it's going to end. For that reason, would say that it wasn't, my favorite book, but it's up there as top 3 out of the 6. So out of all the books, as I mentioned yesterday as well, this is the most highly reviewed on Bookreads, with the highest rating on Goodreads. Sorry, not Bookreads, on Goodreads. So this could very well also win the Book of 2020. This is going to be really hard, isn't it? I feel sorry for the judges. But this is definitely loved by many people. And as a debut novel for Douglas, this is definitely a great introduction into literature for himself. And I, would not be surprised if this won the Book of 2020. So let me know your thoughts on that one. And then coming second for me, I guess, would be The Shadow King. And The Shadow King also reviewed yesterday and uploaded on my channel, so check out that video if you haven't seen that yet. Was an incredible account on the war with Italy and Ethiopia. I had not ever read or come across a lot of information around that war, so this was the first time for me, and I was plowing through Google when I was reading this book to find out exactly the events that took place. So the events are true, but the characters themselves are fictional, and because of that, I thought Mazda Mengistu did an incredible job at of portraying women in power, and the fight and the war, and what people would do to fight for their land and for their country. That this is just incredibly emotive in that nature. I really appreciated this, and I think for many people they are calling this a masterpiece, and I would agree that if you were absolutely in love with this, that you would consider this a masterpiece. But because of Mazda Mengistu's writing style and the way that this is formulated in a lyrical prose format, I found it sometimes very difficult to follow or to feel engaged all the time, as sometimes it just felt that the pace of this was a little slow for me, and it was just sometimes difficult to keep up with the pace and to feel engaged. And this does, I feel, have a bit of a slow burn to start with, and then the ending just absolutely skyrockets, and it's well executed, but I guess the pace for myself probably needed to be a little faster to begin with, to keep me fully engaged throughout the whole book. But a great contender for the shortlist, and my prediction is that this book will win the Book of 2020 because of the story itself, the lyrical prose, I guess the depth of the characters, and just I just think that this probably has all the boxes ticked, from past books that have won the Booker. I feel like this would tick most of the boxes, but who knows? I could be completely wrong, but I think this is probably the strongest contender out of the six. Let me know your thoughts on that one. But even though I don't think this will win the Booker 2020, I found this to be my favourite of the six, and it was actually the first book that I read of the shortlist. And why I loved it so much was because it just had a great pace, and I think Brandon Taylor had a lot to say in quite I'd say it's not a big book, but I felt like the messages here were strong, and I loved the microscopic view and lens of relationships over one weekend that we had with the characters, and what it's like to live as a Black person in modern day society, around and surrounded by white people at university. So really interesting. I was engaged throughout the entire book, and this was the one that I read in the shortest amount of time because I loved it so much and it was unputdownable for me. So yeah, this was definitely my favorite of the six. So I guess if we're looking at this list, and I'm going to have a sip of tea. So overall, as you can see, this is my from real life being my favorite all the way to the bottom. I guess that those are just my preference and my opinions and reviews on the books. I'm sure there are people who have totally different opinions or loved the books that I didn't like the most. So yeah, and who I think could potentially be the winner, as I said, look, we have some really strong contenders. I would like to see the Shadow King win, even though it wasn't, a 10 out of 10 rating for me, but I can see why it would be, a strong contender. But then if I was to pick, I would say out of these three, so Burnt Sugar, Shuggy Bane, so much books to juggle here, and the Shadow King, I think these three or any of these three are worthy recipients and could potentially win the Booker 2020. But hey, I could be wrong, and it could be any of the other three that I haven't picked here, and I think they are all worthy. They've obviously been shortlisted for a reason, and these are just Mel's thoughts on the books, and who am I to make a decision. But yeah, so I want to thank you all for being on this journey with me and for commenting and letting me know your thoughts on my reviews that I've been uploading over the last month and a bit. It's been really fun connecting with you all, and I will continue uploading book reviews. I think I have got some great ideas on how I want to, or what type of videos I want to keep uploading on my channel. But if you have any suggestions, or there's anything you'd like to hear from me or want to know about me, let me know. I can always do another video on that. And I will also do a live reaction to me finding out about who the 2020 winner will be for the Booker Prize. So rather than waking up at 4 a.m, which is the live stream time of the Booker 2020 prize, I'm going to get up at a normal time and not have watched or read the news. I'm going to go straight to my laptop and basically play the recording of the announcement and record that live, so you will see my initial reaction on my first sighting of the announcement. So Yeah, I'll do that for you all tomorrow morning Brisbane time, but I know it is at 7 p.m. UK time. So for everyone watching it live, I hope you enjoy the stream. I'm really excited. I'm yeah, really looking forward to hearing what the judges have to say. And yeah, I will leave you with that, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.